Hey, what's going on, Boozers Club? Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. We are um, doing a little series again, kind of like not redrafting, just say like just regrading some of the past draft classes for the NSL. We're going to go ahead and start that series. Now, we're only going to go back, unfortunately, until 2018, I believe. So after this one, there'll just be two more to go. Well, three, but I want to wait for, last year's draft class to at least have one full year under their belts. I am showcasing Jimmy Jackson today. So you guys know I'm a huge Dallas fan, whatever. But we're gonna go ahead and just get started on that. Like I said, I kind of want to make this sort of a series until it's not one, and then once I get some of the other guys in here, whatever, we can discuss other things going on in the NSL. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the 2020 NSL Draft class. So with the number one pick, which was the number one pick in the real NBA as well, Oklahoma City selected they call him Anthony Edwards, not to be confused with the guy that played Goose in Top Gun. But anyway, Anthony Edwards is, an excellent pick here. You really couldn't go wrong with one or two guys, as it turns out, and it's starting to be maybe a triple conversation again. At the time, in real NBA, there was three guys that were projected to be one, two, and three, and Edwards was one of them. So of course he is a valuable piece right now with Oklahoma and in our NSL. So I'm definitely going to give this, and he's a remarkable player even in the NBA as well. So this was a home run for a number one pick. I mean, you can't give it any honestly lower than an A+ pick. Even with the maybe one guy that we'll discuss here in a little bit, maybe you could argue would have been number one. But no, this wasn't a bad pick at all. With the second pick, we had the Charlotte Hornets selecting James Wiseman. So Wiseman now is very polarizing. At the time he was selected, he was, like I said, he was one of the top three guys people were talking about, and but polarizing the fact that in the real NBA, he wasn't. It was with Golden State Warriors. He's now with Detroit Pistons, but in the real NBA, he wasn't being utilized. That it's a mega team. You kind of understand, but 2K likes going on what they see, so to speak. So not really potential, although they have one of their attributes being potential. But again, I'm in the mindset that some of the guys that make this game 2K, they don't watch basketball. But anyway, at the time, and the grade that I'm going to give it today is a little bit more lenient than if we would have talked maybe this time last season. But he has been coming to his own, and in the NSL, of course, being a big guy, so he's going to be up there. But for the NSL, like I said, these grading systems will be for NSL alone. He is actually doing fairly well. He is in the top 50 players, as a matter of fact, right at 50 in the NSL as of today. So I really can't bash this pick at all. Being a big man, the way he's coming around in real life, those attributes are about to jump pretty good. I think this guy has a bright future, especially with that young Detroit team. I'm gonna tell you right now, man, these guys in Detroit are gonna be like a show coming up in these couple of years. You just watch. But Wiseman is going to get an A pick. It literally was like in the I think I would have capped it maybe at a C-, D+. It would have talked this time last year, but it is an A pick. Big men are very, very valuable size. The height thing, guys, it counts in this game. So he's an A pick at number 2. The number 3 guy is the one that I would have, tossed a coin, honestly. And with Anthony Edwards, with LaMelo Ball, was selected by Minnesota. And that was one of the guys that he literally is a beast in our engine, in our website, in our league. As a matter of fact, of the 3, he's the highest rated guy. He's been hurt, so you have that injury deal, whatever. Tall point guard, but a playmaking machine. This guy has an amazing, amazing future ahead of him. So with that, I will give the LaMelo Ball pick an A plus. This is one of those guys. I mean, you couldn't have gone wrong, honestly, at the time with those two. Hindsight being 2020, of course, James Wiseman would have been, like I said, this time last year would have had a different conversation. But LaMelo, definitely solid A in that. The number 4 pick went to another. I mean, Oklahoma City had another, top 4 pick. So they drafted another kind of small big man. When I say that, it's anything under 6'10", 6'11", well, not 6'10", I guess is it. You can have those tweener guys, but Onyeka Okongwu is, at least in the engine, a beast of a rebounder. He's actually a top 100 player as well. And I know we talked about parallelisms and all that stuff. So of course, in the NBA, Wiseman, these guys are all parallel with their counterparts in the NBA. Anthony Edwards, LaMelo Ball, and Wiseman's getting there as well. Okongwu is one of those that he plays a lot better in our engine than he does in the NBA, although he's a top 200 player in the NBA as well. But going to an already, juggernaut of a team, is if you pay attention to what Oklahoma City is now, this guy is an amazing get for being, in his position. And there was not a lot that's lower than him, that was picked lower than him, that would have been a better pick, in all honesty. So I'm being very generous with the 2021, but we've had more of a better sample size. And I think Onyeka also deserves an A. Like I said, big man. Those are the fines. Unless you have guards or whatever that are taller than 6'4", like I said on the last episode. But yeah, definitely deserving grade for Onyeka. The number 5 pick went to Milwaukee, and they went ahead and drafted Killian Hayes. Hayes, of course, there's players that would have probably been a better fit, in all honesty. But at the time, I could understand the pick itself. Highly touted guy, shooter, but he's been streaky, and then not a big playing time type of guy either. So of course he is he shows off a little bit better in the NBA than he does with the NSL. But in saying that, like I said, there's some better players that are we're going to mention a little bit further down. I will give the Killian Hayes pick at 5, at best a solid C plus. Only time is gonna tell what Killian will give to Milwaukee in our league. The next pick, another one of those kind of disappointing. They compared this guy honestly to being another Luka, and the Luka was 2 years removed by the time this guy got drafted. But the Celtics selected and had back-to-back picks, by the way, so the next one's going to be another Celtics pick. But they had Danny Advia, and he's, like I said, one of those, you just wonder if it was another Darko Milicic type, you know what I mean? A lot of hype. There was a lot, and this guy is his play, the attributes he has and everything, you would think that he'd be a lot better. His, good size, ball handling guy, streaky shooter now, but coming out, these European guys are usually pretty good shooters, but you wonder if he just the hype alone and everybody was excited about this guy was enough to get him into the top 10. Right now, he's just teetering on 400, in our league. So there's 370 players, according to what we have as of today, as of this recording, that are better than Denny, at least stat wise and everything in our system, in our league. So Denny being a top 10 pick, being at 6, unfortunately, I'm going to have to give a D minus. I wanted to give an F, honestly, but I think this guy has a lot more to show, and I'm hoping. But yeah, that's where we stand with Denny. Again, another Boston pick. He had back to back. So number 7, they picked another big, kind of like those tweener bigs, like I keep mentioning. But this guy was more of an athletic big, and I use big loosely with this. I'm just saying he's a taller wing. So I don't want to confuse that. I'm sorry. Don't want to talk about him being like a center type or anything like that. But Obi Toppin is one of the more athletic guys that came out of this this draft. Getting drafted in his position and everything like that, being the number 7 pick back to back for Boston was like I said, at the time, was like you would think those were like boom boom home run. You know what I mean? Obi is a little bit better than Killian. Obviously, I don't think he's with Boston anymore, but he's one of those guys that been around the league. He's been traded at least once that I know of for sure. But one of those guys that he'll fill up the stats a little bit. I'm not sure his counterpart with us opposed to his NBA. Now, NBA he was really hyped up beginning of the season, end of last season. But then he got into trade rumors, and then the Knicks in real life picked up a lot of players that kind of took his minutes away and whatever. And I guess he fell out of the rotation. And we know how Thibodeau is with his favorites and whatever. So in real life, but unfortunately, he's not doing that well in our league as well. A little bit better than Killian, but he is definitely going to receive a C minus grade for now. Only honestly because there are better rated guys below him. But C minus. But I think Obi's one of those that's going to, if we revisit this video in a couple of years, he may be one of those Bs, that B plus tier or whatever. I don't think he has, other than role player in his future, and I think it's going to be the same with the NSL. The next pick we had was another highly touted guy coming out. I remember this, getting the hype for this guy, whatever, swingman. Got picked by the Pelicans in our league, and that's Patrick Williams. And Williams is actually somebody that has just come into his own, both in the NBA and the NSL. He has similar numbers in both. And I actually asked about him with the general manager for New Orleans, some of our talks that we had. And for his defense alone, he's one of those 3-and-D guys. Unfortunately now he's a little bit more D than he is 3, but still, the time will tell on this guy as well. He is sort of stat wise, whatever, kind of similar to Toppin, the one that got selected right for him. So we'll give him a similar grade for now, but with a lot of room to improve on it. Because he got picked after, we're going to give him a C plus on the grade for Patrick Williams. Like I said, not bashing whatever, but I just grade these based on what our numbers are here with the NSL. Now, unfortunately, the next guy got selected 9th. Another swingman, kind of a miss for Oklahoma. Oklahoma was he's drafted very, very well, but this this is going to be one of the rougher grades, being a top 10 pick with Isaac Okoro. Unfortunately, that pick is going to be an F. He is not a very, very good player at all. Better in the NBA than he is in our league. And I'm going to have to guess, he's falling out of the rotation with Oklahoma in our league. But he is he's in the 400s, and that's not really, really good. in our league at all. So I'm gonna have to give this one an F. Again, based on where he got drafted, who he went to at the time. Oklahoma was not a juggernaut at that time. They are now. But, and then, who got picked almost immediately after him for one. Maybe not a need for Oklahoma at the time. But, segueing into that, Golden State picked a big man, Jalen Smith. Another guy highly touted, real young, rim protector type. And he is another guy that I, asked about, whatever. I know he got traded, I believe, at some point this season. I'll have to check, but Golden State did choose him, and he is playing on par with his NBA counterpart as well. And another real, he had a really weird contract. I believe it was. I'm not really sure what exactly happened. I was have to look into that, whatever. But I'm gonna give this grade a B plus, a little lower than I kind of wanted to put him in the A because he is a pretty impactful player, but he hasn't cracked the top 100. So that's what we have for him. But another guy to keep an eye out for sure. Jalen Smith is a one of those guys you'd love to have on your team. I can't express enough of how important bigs are and height in this game. But going on, the Phoenix Suns selected. Now the next two guys I'm going to talk about are one's a pretty sized guard, and the one after him, the next guy I'm going to talk about is kind of those small guards, but still very impactful. So I don't want to confuse people when I give one small guy, and I did in the other video, really low grades, whatever. But this guy's actually a very impactful guy. The next guy I'm going to talk about, this one here, at pick 11, Phoenix selected Tyrese Halliburton. Halliburton is one of those stud guys. Great size for a guard. He runs the point and a shooting guard. He has become a stud in Indiana. He was a stud with the Kings. He fell, in my opinion, further than he should have in the real NBA. And there's a lot of teams regretting that, their picks compared to what Tyrese did. Solid pick for Phoenix. He is not with Phoenix anymore in our league, but at the time, solid pick. Outside of the top 10, one of the top 100 players for us. I'm going to give the Tyrese Halliburton grade an A+. I see nothing but greatness out of this guy, especially playing in a sort of young Indiana team. They have a good mix, whatever. But I think he can become a star in the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander mold, to where they'll give them great ratings because where they're playing, it might not be as good as if he's putting up these numbers with, say, the Lakers or something like that in real life. But he's an A+ pick. The next one we had was Houston, and Houston selected Tyrese Maxey, and Maxey's the smaller of the two, 6'3" guard, but impactful player. Great shooter, speed from hell in our system. So if you want to draft size in this engine at least, but if you don't, then get speed when it comes to a point guard. And this guy is one of the better ones. I'm not going to give him a grade similar to Tyrese, even though similarly they're in the NBA rated and in our NSL rated almost identical. But only for the fact that he just a smaller guard, and he can get eaten up. He's one of those driving guards as well. Great facilitator, don't get me wrong, but he can get eaten up compared to a guy like back you down like Halliburton. But Maxey, I'm going to give a solid A- regardless. He's still going to be in the A club. Great pickup, in all honesty, for the Rockets in our league. Next one is a kind of a favorite of mine a little bit, in real life, selected by Utah, and that's Devin Vassell. Vassell's another one of those guys that, he's outplaying his counterpart in the NSL, but I think there's a reason for that. He's with Utah right now, who owns his own pick and my pick, as a matter of fact, I believe, this coming year. So he has got probably the inside track to get Wemby. But anyway, I digress. So I believe this is going to be one of those where I'm going to make a kind of decision to grade him a little bit better than what his NSL ranking is, because I just don't think like I said, there's a reason why he's probably not getting played the way he should be played, and I guarantee you by this time next year, Vassell's going to have a great, his career will blossom with Utah. But I will give this at 13, the second to last pick of the first half of the lottery. I'm sorry, and I'm going to give this one a solid A. He's one of those ball handling, shooting. He's a combo guard, but he's a 6'7". I think he's probably at 6'8" now, and really, really young. I don't have anything but great thing to say about this guy. I think he has a bright future in the NBA with the Spurs and in Utah, especially if they get, wow, man, if they get the first 2 picks. Imagine that. I'm going to be kicking myself, but oh well, that's life. The last pick of the lottery went to Milwaukee. He had another pick in the lotto. Another guy outplaying his NBA counterpart, Aaron Naismith. Now, Naismith has come to his own recently, as a matter of fact. So he's actually playing very, very well. Another ball handling combo guard, great size. He's at 6'6", 6'7", guard. Probably should have been picked lower in our league, but then again, it's one of those where it's need, I guess, like that, and Milwaukee's one of the better teams year in, year out. Was run by one of the greater GMs that we had in a different league, and I was run by one of the best GMs, from that league as well. So 2 great GMs ran Milwaukee, and with Naismith though, playing better than he is in the NBA, I think there would have been a lot better picks he could have had, and not knocking on that at all. I'm still going to give Naismith a B- grade. I think he, depending on what kind of plays he's going to get, minutes and all that, whatever, I think he has a good future as well. Now we're going to get out of the lottery, and the 2 out of the next 3 guys we're going to talk to, I just realized, actually 3 of the next 4 guys had some link to my team. Actually, the next one at 15, so I'm going to try to be as unbiased as I can, was the Pacers selecting Sadiq Bey. Bey's one of those, had great 2 years, and then kind of fell out of favor in Detroit. So they shipped him in the Real NBA. They shipped him to Atlanta, and he's putting up actually better numbers than another guy that's on my team. I have John Collins, and Collins is playing like crap in the NBA. Sadiq's putting up some very, very good numbers coming off the bench for the Hawks. At the time of this recording, the Hawks beat my Mavericks in overtime. What a crap show the Mavericks are this after this Kyrie trade. But anyway, I digress. Sadiq is one of those swing men, great size, muscular guy. He can level you. He's in that LeBron James mold type, not quite LeBron, but and he's on my team now. But selected by the Pacers, Sadiq is a solid B+. One of those scrappy players, streaky shooter. He's become a streaky shooter, I should say. But no, he's he fills the stat line. He's been my high scorer for I don't know how many games this season since I acquired him. But he deserves that grade for sure. The next guy we have was selected by Boston. Boston historically has been a great drafting team, along with teams like Minnesota and some of the juggernauts, obviously. But Boston for sure in the NSL has been a great draft GM. Cole Anthony doesn't play as well in our engine as he does in the real NSL. Unfortunately, another smaller, player. Um, he was being he was being shopped to me while he was with a different team. He's in a totally different team now, even from that team earlier. And then I inquired later about him, whatever, which I just needed a point guard. I kind of still do. But Cole Anthony, a little smaller guard, unfortunately, not putting up the good numbers. But he's with one of those juggernaut teams as well. I still can't detract the fact that he's in a great situation in Orlando in real life. So I'm gonna give him a C plus grade. I was teetering on the B minus, but like I said, not doing as well. Small guard, so gets a C plus. The next guy was drafted by Philadelphia. The strange thing about this pick at 17 was it was my original pick. I traded it to Philadelphia. That's easy. I can't remember what came back, whatever. But this was Alexei. We call him Pokushevsky. But Poku. The funny thing is that was my pick. I traded to Philadelphia. Philadelphia, drafted him, and now he's on my team anyway. So, kind of like one of those, I don't want to say serendipitous because I don't know it was going to happen, whatever. But we'll take it anyway. Poku, unfortunately, this season has been injured. He's okay this week. He plays on par basically with his NBA counterpart, but he's one of those. I went to an Oklahoma City game, two of them actually, when I saw that he is, he brings up the ball, which is funny because SGA played in one of the games. He didn't play in the second one that I saw against Memphis, but SGA was on the floor and Poku's bringing up the ball, and this guy's 7 foot. Just one of those. I didn't like him at first, at all. First 2 seasons, I was like, oh, what a waste. But then I saw him play, and now I'm just like a fan. This guy. I'm hoping if you don't know the situation in Oklahoma City in real life, they have a lot of youth and a lot of players that play the same positions. So Poku he can play from point guard to center. Obviously, his height. Now he's going to get pushed around, so he's going to be. If you're going to play him at power forward or center, and I know like in Oklahoma they will, but it's they really don't have positions anymore, whatever. But he's going to get pushed around. He's a lanky kid, great shooter though, great shooter. So at 17, and that's Philly picking. So remember, I'm grading you, Philly, on that. But I have to give this because of the size, like I said, and what he gives. He's not one of the premier guys or anything like that, so I'm going to keep him in the B tier, but he's going to get a B plus. I think he has a great future in the NBA. I'm not sure if it's going to be Oklahoma. They do have Chet Holmgren coming back. They're going to have a pretty good pick. They've been playing very well, so they're out of the lottery for now. They're in the play-in position right now. But this is a really, really scary team, and they're going to be even better. So with the next pick, another Dallas guy. I had this guy, obviously, on my team. I don't have him anymore. But in real life, he is a Dallas Maverick. With the 18th pick, the Orlando Magic chose Josh Green. And Josh Green has come into his own. If you know anything about basketball, he is one of those 3-and-D guys as well. But he has honestly become the third best player in the Mavericks in real life. And 2K's been paying attention to that. They've been, upping his attributes like crazy. So, being a late first round pick, and doing as well as he is, I'm going to give Josh Green a B plus grade. He is not, he's in the bottom tier 200s, in our so that's why I wouldn't give him normally. What I would probably wanted to give him was someone in the A's as well. But, again, being on a team that's virtually one of the, juggernauts in the East right now, he's definitely a good guy to have on the team for sure. And I know he's going to be a great future for them as well. I'm gonna try to race through these because I have a few, second rounders that I want to kind of talk about as well. But the next pick went 19 to Milwaukee, and that was Precious Achua, another small big guy, but I believe he's a 6'10" guy. They have him listed at 6'9" for whatever. Very, very, very outplaying his NBA counterpart. His NBA counterpart is not that good, but he's getting good minutes here in the NSL. And like I said, another big man, and not really a lot that was drafted after him. That's better. So I think this is a value pick for sure, especially at 19. So I'm gonna give him a solid B minus. Actually, I'll change that to a B. Good pickup. Like I said, not one of the. He's one of the better players in the NSL. Not a really that good of a player in the NBA, but solid pickup. For getting him this low. The next guy at 20 was selected by the Lakers, and that was Kira Lewis. And Kira Lewis is another small guard, speedy guy, whatever. Really not that good in the NBA at all. He's playing a lot better in the NSL, so I'm gonna grade him based on that. So Kira Lewis at 20, small. You know how that goes. I'm gonna give a C minus to. There was one guy you could have picked. I mean, hindsight 2020, right? That's next, and we'll talk about him right now. And at 21, the Washington Wizards selected Desmond Bane, and Bane is one of those diamond in the rough type of guys. 3-and-D guy, amazing player in the NBA. Listed at 6'5", 6'6", I believe. But just bulk of a guy, dude. Like he's just one of those players you want to have on your team in real life and the NSL for sure. So I'm gonna give that. Now I guess in the situation he doesn't play NSL wise the way he does. He's a top 50 guy in NBA, but for some reason he's not in our. So I'm gonna still give that kind of personal dash on that one. I'm going to give this grade a B plus because I'm just thinking the future, this guy is going to be outstanding. I just think he has a great future in Memphis. He's with Memphis right now in the NBA. I have nothing but good to say about him. The next pick as well, Jaden McDaniels selected by Phoenix at number, I think it's 22. Kind of similar NBA guy to his counterpart in the NSL. Another big man that gets you your numbers that you need, whatever. I'm also going to give this grade a B, just because it's 22nd pick. At this point, you're just like hoping somebody's going to like land and be good, and this guy's very serviceable. The next pick, unfortunately, is going to be one of those horrible player in the NBA, plays better in our league, so I will definitely probably give him a better grade than I would if I was saying, hey, this is the NBA grading. But selected by Portland, RJ Hampton, and another swingman, just hasn't come to his own in the NBA. Did a lot better obviously in our like I said in our league. I'm gonna give this one a C plus. Swingman, usually I'm better at grading, but this just, he doesn't have that bite when you talk about him, whatever. And I'm sure he's a solid player. In our league, I really don't. I follow our league a lot. I go into box scores and all that stuff, and he's not really a stat filler at all. Next player is going to be selected by Detroit. They selected Leandro Bolmero, and another swingman type, bad player, both NBA and NSL. So, like I said, I'm going to have to go with the way I rate them as far as what you could have picked below. But my next two picks, unfortunately, aren't even in the league anymore. So the next two picks are going to be automatic Fs because they don't play at all. But we're going to go with, actually, I'm sorry, one of the picks does. NBA wise, I believe, but the one after that doesn't. But Leandro is going to get a D plus grade. He just size alone, because he's one of those swingman type that size alone will get you better numbers than normal or smaller guys. The next two, one was selected by Brooklyn, which is Theo Maledon, and Tyrell Terry, who's kind of one of those, he was drafted by Dallas in real life. So I was kind of like, I was hoping this guy had a better career. And Terry was selected by Boston. They're Terry for sure is going to receive an F. He's not in the league anymore at all. But Theo is going to be serviceable swingman, I guess, whatever. He is, I believe, I'm not really sure if he was on a 10-day contract or just somewhere hovering in the GD. I'm not really sure about that one. I'll have to look into that. But Tyrell for sure is going to get an F. Maledon ahead of him is going to get a D minus, just above an F. You had a lot better picks than that. The next guy, as a matter of fact, was way better than Theo at the time. And that Minnesota, again, one of the better guys at drafts. But Minnesota selected Isaiah Stewart. And Stewart is one of those banger guys, small big man, like I say. But he gets he gets the numbers, man. So Stewart, in my opinion, is a B plus at this point. It's gonna be a B plus. Plays almost identical to his NBA counterpart, so that was actually a great pick as well. Kind of want to, just late in it, whatever, late in the video and late in it's the second one of this series, but B tiers are really good players. You know what I mean? So if I grade somebody at a B plus, B, or B minus, it's still a good player and it's still a great pick. So I just want to make that clear. The next guy selected by Orlando, Vernon Carey Jr., another big, serviceable big, plays better in our league than he does in the NBA. So for that, I'm also going to give this guy a C plus grade. I know it's a big, but there are still some players a little bit better, and that's what I graded on as well. So that's what he gets. Xavier Tillman was selected at 29, the second to the last pick in the first round, selected by Washington. Tillman's one of those guys that in our league gives you nothing. Good swingman in NBA is a little bit better, but gives you nothing in our league. And he's actually playing for a team that's gotten a lot better this season through trades and everything. He's with Sacramento, but for some reason it's not translating to numbers. So unfortunately, but Tillman still second to the last pick of the first round. Is still going to get a solid C minus grade on that. He's a big swingman type, but still pats those stats, whatever. But does a lot better than he does in real life, for us at least. The last pick of the first round went to another big guy, and that was by Toronto. Another guy that's Daniel Arturo, that I'm not even that familiar with. I think it's just one of those, don't know why you picked him. Not playing in our league, and I'm not sure if it's because he's just not in the NBA. G League player, I'm guessing, whatever. I'm not really familiar with this guy at all, but that's what we have. So that's it, guys, for the first round. I just want to, funny thing is, it's going to get a good segue, but I want to quickly go into the second round. And in saying that, at 34, selected by Denver, we had Manuel Quickly, smaller, fast guard, second rounder at 34, does put good numbers up in our league, better in NBA, solid B minus grade on that one. He's still somebody to talk about. You know what I mean? And there's names out here that are, maybe familiar with people, whatever, but I just want to hit on the guys that play very well for us, in our league. Golden State selected Nick Richards. has had an amazing season this year in the NBA. Uh, Off and on starting for the Hornets, I believe. And but no, this is he was drafted at 40, mind you guys, by Golden State. This is an A pick, a big, really good stats, plays very well, A for sure. Um, the next one, Paul Reed, he was selected 41 by the Pelicans. Another big that you'd like to have on your team. Kind of a smaller guy, whatever. Not as good, obviously, as Nick Richards, but we're going to give Paul Reed a C plus. Still at 41, you know what I mean? So you can't really go. Um, you couldn't have gone wrong with him at all. There were some names out here, NBA guys that like Trey Jones, was selected by Memphis. Not He plays a lot better in the NBA than he does. So I still have to grade it, but I want to grade it. Giving him a C minus grade, small guy, whatever. But I think Trey Jones has a pretty good future, and selected at 45 by Memphis, not bad at all. In all honesty, but that's it, guys. I've kind of ran my over my minutes that I wanted to talk to you guys. Again, I can't stress enough. Um, to visit NBASimLeague.com. Get yourself in the waiting list. It's a fun league, very interactive. Every GM in there, we all interact with each other. We're in a Discord with each other, Discord channel with each other. A great group of guys. And if you're into basketball, you're into sports in general, this is the community you want to be a part of for sure. But that's all I have for you guys. I want to thank you for dropping by again. I should be doing the 2019 pod here pretty soon as well. I'm gonna try. Hopefully, we'll get with one of the GMs to maybe tag team that one or whatever, or a few of them, whatever. They do a lot of podcasts as well. But yeah, this has been fun. I like talking about these. So I'm not hoping to offend anybody by the grades or whatever. This is just my opinion, one man's opinion on how they play, not in real life, but in our league. But anyway, guys, thanks for stopping by.